If this message finds you, it's not an accident. It means you're ready to understand something that most people never will. You've always felt different, set apart, misunderstood, even by the people closest to you. And deep inside, you've always sensed there was something sacred about your journey, something not everyone was meant to understand. That's because you weren't created to blend in. You were chosen to stand out. But with that calling comes power, and with power comes responsibility. God doesn't give spiritual gifts to just anyone. These gifts are sacred, divine tools only entrusted to those He knows can handle the weight of them. Most people go their whole lives never unlocking them. But if you're listening now, it's likely because you already feel the stirring inside your spirit, a quiet, persistent feeling that you've been marked for something greater, something eternal. The truth is, the most powerful chosen ones walk a path that looks lonely on the outside. But in the spirit realm, they're surrounded by divine activity, covered, watched, guided, and when the time is right, when their faith has been tested and their character refined, God begins to unlock their gifts one by one. These are not material blessings. These are spiritual tools, eternal weapons. And if you've been through the fire lately, it's because you're being prepared to receive them. The first gift, unshakable discernment. This isn't just intuition. It's divine knowing, a supernatural ability to see through people, situations, and energy without needing to be told a word. It's that moment when someone smiles at you, but something in your spirit says no. When everything looks perfect on the surface, but your soul is restless. That's not paranoia. That's discernment. And if you've been given this gift, you must guard it carefully. The enemy will try to confuse it, make you doubt yourself. But once you learn to trust that inner voice, once you align it with God's voice, you'll walk through life seeing clearly what others miss completely. The second gift is spiritual resilience. You've been knocked down more times than you can count. People have betrayed you. Life has broken you. But somehow you're still here. Not because you're lucky, but because you're chosen. What should have destroyed you actually refined you. Every setback was secretly training. Every heartbreak, divine sharpening. And now, you're not easily shaken. You carry a spiritual weight, an invisible strength. People feel it when you enter the room, even if they can't explain it. That's not ego. That's the result of surviving storms others couldn't even imagine. That's a gift, and it's one you earn through fire. The third gift is revelation. Chosen ones often receive divine downloads, messages, visions, or dreams that others would dismiss. Have you ever known something before it happened? Felt a shift in your spirit before the evidence appeared? That's revelation, a gift that allows you to see beyond the physical, to understand spiritual truths most are blind to. It can feel overwhelming at times, especially when no one around you seems to get it. But know this, God didn't show you what He showed you by accident. You're being trusted with sacred insight, and when you learn to handle it with humility, clarity, and timing, it becomes one of your most powerful tools. The fourth gift is divine protection. You shouldn't be alive right now. You've walked into dark places and come out untouched. You've been surrounded by enemies and still found peace. That's not coincidence, it's divine covering. As a chosen one, your path is lit, but it's also heavily guarded. You're here because angels were assigned to your steps, because God intervened when you didn't even know you were in danger. And though your battles may look intense, they're nothing compared to what could have happened if you weren't marked by the Most High. That kind of protection, it's not earned, it's chosen. And once you understand how deeply heaven is involved in your journey, you stop fearing what's around you. You start trusting what's within you. And finally, the fifth gift, spiritual authority. This is the rarest and most dangerous gift of all, not because it brings you power over others, but because it gives you influence over the unseen realm. Your words carry weight. Your prayers shift dimensions. When you speak life, things begin to move. When you declare truth, deception falls. That's why you must be careful with your tongue. Life and death are in its power. And when you've been given spiritual authority, even your silence can be a weapon. You may not have a title. You may not be on a platform. But in the spirit, you're a general. And heaven knows it. So does hell. These 5 gifts are not given lightly. They are entrusted to those who have been broken, tested, and purified. If you recognize yourself in these words, it's because you are being called into awareness, into activation. God doesn't want you walking through life unaware of what you carry. It's time to rise in it, to sharpen it, to use it, not for ego, but for impact. You weren't given these gifts to sit in silence. You were given them to shift atmospheres, heal hearts, and walk boldly in your divine assignment. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. You are not too sensitive. You are gifted, spiritually gifted. And that comes with both weight and wonder. The more you understand these gifts, the more responsible you must become with your energy, your time, your words. You don't have the luxury of moving like everyone else anymore. You're not ordinary. You're anointed. And with that comes a higher standard. So if this message feels like it was speaking directly to your soul, it's because it was. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to remember who you are. Not because you need another motivational speech, but because heaven is whispering. Now is the time. The veil is thinning. The calling is intensifying. And your gifts are being activated whether you're ready or not. So step up, take your place, and never forget. God trusted you with these gifts for a reason. You have no idea just how many battles were fought over your soul before you even took your first breath. The enemy saw your light long before you saw it yourself. That's why the warfare has been so intense. That's why the pain you've endured has never seemed to make sense. Because your destiny isn't ordinary. Your spirit has been equipped with sacred gifts that threaten darkness at its core. And now you're finally waking up to who you are. There's a reason you've always been targeted, a reason your relationships were tested, your loyalty betrayed, your trust shattered. It wasn't just about hurting you. It was about silencing the voice that could set others free. It was about dimming the light that could expose lies. But here you are, still standing, still rising, still sensing something greater pulling you forward. That's because your purpose is spiritually protected, and your gifts cannot be taken. They can only be ignored. But now, it's time to stop ignoring them. Discernment is growing sharper. You're no longer able to sit comfortably in chaos. Fake energy makes you uneasy. Small talk bores you. And anything that doesn't align with truth, it exhausts your spirit. That's not arrogance, it's awakening. You're tuning into a higher frequency now, and anything that distracts from your calling begins to feel like noise. And as painful as it is to let go of old people and patterns, you're beginning to realize peace is your new standard. Anything that costs your peace is too expensive. That's what happens when your spiritual resilience takes over. You stop breaking over things that once crushed you. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't meant to understand you. You stop chasing love that has to be earned. Because now you see, what you thought was punishment was really preparation. Every no was protection. Every delay was alignment. Every breakdown, a setup for breakthrough. And now, you walk differently. You pray differently. You speak with power because you've seen too much not to believe. And with that comes deeper revelation. You're starting to get glimpses of the future. Patterns are becoming clear. Hidden motives are being revealed. And things you once tolerated now feel unbearable. That's because your spiritual eyesight is evolving. You're no longer spiritually blind. You're seeing through illusion. You're hearing things others can't hear, sensing things others dismiss. And while that can feel lonely at times, understand, you're not alone. You're ahead. And those visions, they're previews of the impact you're meant to create. But don't be surprised if the warfare intensifies when the vision becomes clearer. The enemy fears clarity more than anything. When you know who you are, when you finally believe in what you carry, you become unstoppable. And that's when your divine protection activates in full. Doors begin to open that no man can shut. Attacks bounce off you. What once triggered you now strengthens you. And even in isolation, you feel peace. That's not just growth, that's divine insulation. God is wrapping you in His covering because your next season requires undistracted obedience. You'll start to notice your presence shifting rooms. People will feel convicted in your silence. They'll be drawn to you, or they'll resist you with intensity. Don't take it personal. Your spiritual authority speaks before you say a word. When you've been marked by heaven, your mere existence exposes things. And when your words finally flow, whether through prayer, writing, teaching, or simply showing up as your authentic self, the spirit world moves. Chains break, strongholds shake. That's what makes your voice dangerous to darkness. But with power comes responsibility. And this is the part many chosen ones miss. These gifts aren't for ego, they're for service. You weren't chosen to dominate. You were chosen to deliver, to heal, to restore. You're a vessel, not the source. Stay humble, stay surrendered. Because the moment you try to use spiritual gifts for personal validation, they become distorted. Power without purity becomes poison, but power rooted in truth, that changes everything. God has trusted you with these gifts because He knew you would grow into them. Not all at once, but layer by layer, battle by battle, revelation by revelation. And now, the season has come where you can no longer live beneath your anointing. You can no longer hide in fear, pretend you don't see what you see, or suppress the gifts flowing through you. Heaven is calling you out of hiding, out of fear, out of limitation, because your generation needs what you carry. The world is in spiritual famine. People are starving for truth, for healing, for light. And you, yes, you, are the answer to someone's silent prayer, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to be real, willing to grow, willing to show up even when you feel unqualified. That's what makes you chosen, not your resume, but your surrender. So listen carefully. The days of doubting your purpose are over. The season of questioning your worth is done. This is your confirmation, your awakening, your activation. You are one of the most powerful spiritual beings walking the earth, not because of who you are, but because of who lives in you. And now that you know this, you must walk in it. You must speak with it. You must live as if the kingdom of heaven is backing every step you take. Because it is. No more shrinking. No more waiting for permission. No more waiting to feel ready. You are ready. You've been ready. And everything that tried to break you, it only revealed how powerful you truly are. Your gifts are not random. Your path is not by chance. Every detail was divinely orchestrated to bring you to this moment. And now, it's your time to rise. The world won't always understand you, but heaven will celebrate you. You may lose people, but you'll find purpose. And when you step fully into your anointing, when you use these 5 gifts the way they were meant to be used, you'll change lives simply by existing. So go forward, chosen one. Use your discernment. Walk in your resilience. Honor your revelations. Trust in your protection and release your authority. You were born for this. You were created for this moment. And now, your destiny awaits.